So, Oscar, there is another interesting dynamic here. We're talking about variations. So obviously,
Yes.
there are legitimate reasons to offer variations, and I like variations because you have one parent that you drive traffic to, and then you have multiple items to offer.
Yes.
But there's two types of variations. There is the natural variation. This is just me, okay? So this is not like a rule somewhere. There's natural variations. For example, small, medium, large,
Yep.
black, white, red, blue, whatever.
Yep.
And then there is the value
All right.
variation.
Yes.
And these are the packs and the bundles and like that. I like more the value bundle variation rather than the natural.
Yeah.
So now here is the interesting dynamic. Let's say that you start with 4 variations,
Yes.
5 variations. Well, frankly, at the beginning, you don't know what's going to sell. So
Right.
offer many. Now, as some of those variations, whether it's natural or value, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Start to stand out. As you know, the Amazon search algorithm, not the sponsor, but the natural organic search,
A9.
search algorithm will start to favor
Yes.
the one that's converting the best, that's doing better than the others.
Right.
Which means that in your organic search results, you will see the main picture of that better performing one.
Right.
And then when you click on it, you will land on that one. So now the algorithm will start to favor.
Yes.
It becomes almost a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yes.
Where the one that gets better conversion, better performance will start to do better and better. And at the same time, the others will start to deteriorate even further.
Right.
Now, tell me your thoughts about when you get to that point. You separate out and create another parent and put those underperforming variations under a different parent for the same item. What are your thoughts about that?
Yeah, so that's a great call out. So I think one component we think about, I always think about Amazon, is always a treadmill, it's always moving, you're always evolving. So what you are today is not going to be what you are tomorrow. And so today, as you said, maybe you have several different flavors, all variated. So it's not a value variation, but it's that awareness almost value variation. That is very useful in the beginning, as you mentioned, to help get that awareness. And then as you start to see items drive, again, to your point, you're going to want to break that apart and then come back to a value variation. Now, the critical component is that where is your demand once you break up? Because if your demand is large enough on that winning, that key item, it can have a halo effect for your brand. And so we look for we want a couple $1,000s a week, usually coming from an item before we say, all right, it's mature enough for it to be broken off on its own. Then the second thing is we also do a lot of advertising to get the bought with. So, one of my VP GM, Anders, he loves it when the 3, like, hey, usually bought with are also our brand as well, or whatever our client's brand is. So we'll work really hard to try to create that relationship in A9 through ads and then trying to pause conversion on the other item. So I don't know if that makes sense in that component, but basically we look, hey, is this item, mature enough on its own? If it is, we then break it out. Once broken out, we then use marketing to try to create the relationship with the other flavors, variants, sizes, whatever it may be.
Okay.
I also, the one last thing I say, I really do so I think about the initial search results. I think about the Coliseum, where every gladiator's in there and we're all, hitting each other over the heads, trying to get in front of that customer. And then once they've selected, hey, okay, that one looks interesting, they click on it. Now they're in this private walled garden of yours, right? It's not really private and it's not really walled because it's all Amazon, but other brands, they have to drive ads to get onto that detail page. And so you really can, to your point, you can start to be you're in a little bit safer space to show more of the brand, to try to get more engagement with the non-moving items. But we really do, I guess, just to recap it, we like to variate across, cut, flavor, whatever in the beginning, so that we can get awareness across the selection. Once items have started to show a significant amount of demand in our book, it's usually 2,000 to 3,000 a week. Then we say, all right, let's figure out can we separate this easily? Can we break this apart and then do a better value stack? And I also get a little bit later where that comes into play with if you're utilizing distributors or if you have to use distributors, that value offer on one ASIN is going to become very important to you. And then, then look for halo, try to look to say, how can we manage a halo by driving marketing dollars to items that maybe aren't doing as well, but are very similar and are in the same brand. So,
yeah. So as far as measuring the success of these variations,
yes.
what are you looking at? Are you looking at just sales? Are you looking at what metrics are you looking at?
Yeah. So, I hate to say it, but it depends on what your goal is for that particular moment in time. Some of our clients' goals are at this moment create awareness. And so in that component, we are okay with low performing ROAS and tacos that aren't, standard, for the industry, but where we are getting the impressions, where we are getting, that awareness built. And then there's other components, other times of the year where certain clients or people want really focus on that profitability. And so in that component, then we're highly targeted towards what tacos and ROAS looks like, trying to, ROAS as high as possible, tacos as low as possible, and really, because, that's the goal for that particular moment. So, I think the other component when thinking about, how do I have the stress-free life with Amazon, it's in any life, in all life, we have multiple responsibilities. And if you focus just on one for too long, your life becomes unbalanced. Same thing with Amazon. If you focus on one idea, like I'm only going to consider profitability, well, you may be very profitable, then your top line may start to decrease, you may have awareness problems or you're just not growing, what you need. So there is a constant kind of balancing that needs to take place. You should always be looking, one, what's the next major drive time? So is there Prime Day, that's coming up, in mid-July, like July 12th, probably. Is it, back to school? Is it Q4? Is it, Black Friday? What are the drive times? And then at least kind of every 6 months, you should kind of be looking forward. So, okay, what do I want this business to look like in 6 months?